Hello again, you're watching Al Jazeera. Here's a reminder of our top story this hour. Turkey's president is vowing to reveal what he calls the naked truth about Jamal Khashoggi's killing. Recep Tayyip Erdogan is expected to give a statement in the next few hours on the evidence uncovered by the 3-week Turkish investigation. In his latest comments, the US president has called the killing of the Saudi journalist a plot gone awry. Donald Trump has sent the head of the CIA to Turkey to clarify information on the case. And that, as a new report is adding to the growing weight of evidence linking the Saudi crown prince to the case. Quoting two intelligence sources, the Reuters news agency reports that a key aide to Mohammed bin Salman gave real-time instructions over Skype to the hit squad whilst they killed Khashoggi. So who is this royal insider that is said to have directed Khashoggi's killing via Skype video? Saud al-Qahtani is one of the most powerful men in the inner circle of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Saudi state press agency has announced that he's been fired as an advisor to the royal court, but his title remains chairman of the Saudi Federation for Cybersecurity Programming and Drones. The 40-year-old has a reputation for cracking down on Saudis who post online criticism of the kingdom, particularly the Crown Prince. He tweeted last year that he wouldn't do anything without the Crown Prince's approval. Al-Qahtani was reportedly involved in the interrogation of Lebanon's Prime Minister Saad Hariri, as well as the detention of hundreds of prominent Saudis accused of corruption last year. Let's speak now to Saudi dissident Mohammed al-Mas'arri. He's in London. Good to have you with us. First of all, what's your knowledge of Saud al-Qahtani?
Not very much. He's a secondary figure and not a very qualified man. People call him the coffee maker. He used to be pouring coffees for the princes. Maybe that's just a joke. Anyway, he's not a man of any great qualification except to be very close, very, very, very close to Mohammed bin Salman, MBS. So, based on that, he went up and through the ranks and became the head of the so-called electronic bugs. That's the correct name of this institution, which has the function to monitor Twitter and flood it with accusation, filthy statements, filthy attacks against anyone commenting about anything against the regime. So that's al-Qahtani, and also he's an advisor in the royal court. And clearly, if there's a Skype that he gave instruction about the killing and so on, clearly this could not have been possibly done without the Crown Prince's orders and approval. But that's not the only thing to be mentioned. There's also a mentioning of a WhatsApp communication with Mohammed bin Salman himself enjoying the killing. So that if we expect that Erdogan, if he's honest to his word, to expose that. So I think the focusing on Saud Qahtani is just a diversion to get the focus away from the real criminal, which is MBS.
Okay, do you think what President, just jump in there, because do you think what the Turkish President Erdogan is going to reveal in his speech in the coming hours is going to be evidence that links the Saudi Crown Prince to the killing of Khashoggi?
I hope so. That should be, because he promised to be honest and to expose everything. He may not expose some flanking issues. What I mean with flanking issues, for example, they're not related to the investigation, the killing itself. Like, for example, according to my sources, when Khalid al-Faisal visited, a very, very short visit to Turkey to negotiate something and cover up with Erdogan, he had 1 hour session roughly with Erdogan, which he talked and Erdogan listened without uttering almost no word. Then he referred him to one of the ministers, I think the foreign minister possibly, or another one. And they have a 2-hour session in which now I know from my sources that parts of these videos have been shown to Khalid al-Faisal. That the situation is so, manage it somehow, but we have to expose that. We cannot hide that. That's one flanking. Erdogan may not mention that. Another one, which is very damning, is that this video, either the WhatsApp or this one or both, has been provided first thing, maybe first or second day, to the American President Trump. I take the responsibility to say all his statements since then are lies. He knows what's going on. He's wavering back and forth. And I guess that the CIA chief sent to Turkey is to try to manage this situation some way or another. But obviously, the CIA chief is not a friend of Trump, so he will not manage it in favor of Trump. So hopefully, although that may be not publicized, because this has nothing to do with the killing itself, It will put Trump on the spot and expose him as a liar and also possibly a culprit in the whole affair. But let's wait and see. Let us see how the crime developed. There's no doubt that Mohammed bin Salman is involved in that, and all the Saudi stories are clearly lies. They lied in the beginning, lied middle, lied at the end, although they know all the facts. They have all the facts in their hand from the first day. So that will be exposed, hopefully. And Erdogan has no way away from covering that in such a way unless he give us the video. It will cut into pieces, and this will be easily detected. He has to expose the video in full, whether the WhatsApp or the Skype, or possibly a closed circuit video. The matter is unescapable. I don't think there's an escape for Mohammed bin Salman, but maybe an escape for Trump. But we'll see. We will see, indeed. And we'll certainly be speaking to you in the coming hours as well. For the moment, though, Mohammed al-Masari, thanks very much for joining us from London. Let's speak now to the Saudi dissident, Mohammed al-Masari, in London. Is there a crisis going on within the royal family in Saudi Arabia? And if so, can we expect the family to keep rallying around the Crown Prince? There's a deep crisis since several years, essentially by advancing Mohammed bin Salman and skipping all the old guard and those who believe they are more qualified, also skipping Mohammed bin Naif. Mohammed bin Naif, in opposition to his father, who was anti-American, is very pro-American. He is the man of choice of the deep state, of the military-industrial complex in America. And the military-industrial complex is angry and waiting for a chance to strike back. So removing that deepened the conflicts inside. There was always conflicts, but they were able to rally around because the conflicts were manageable. Now we are getting to a conflict which is becoming unmanageable. We have, for example, the one in Lion and Throne, if quote-unquote Ahmed bin Abdulaziz, he in London, barricading himself and not saying anything, possibly plotting with the British. We don't know. And we have Mohammed bin Naif not executed, which is quite amazing because Mohammed bin Salman is quite vicious. He should have executed him really to eliminate this element, but he could not because this would have made a major break in the royal family. Is still standing by for American help. So this conflict could really mushroom into a disintegration of the family, an internal fight. There's a very well possibility that we have Ahmed bin Abdulaziz leading a faction, possibly promoting himself as the king with Mohammed bin Naif as a crown prince, removing the MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, Mit'ab bin Abdullah, who is not really that much in power and so on, but he could take revenge what has happened to him in the Ritz. He was detained in the Ritz and he was beaten and treated like any common mortal. Al-Saud believed themselves that they're to be above the mortals, high class. So he has some revenge to take. So he may join one the function, or we may have a full-scale confrontation. I don't know how King Salman will manage that, especially he's now in... Don't misunderstand King Salman. He is also a bloody tyrant like his son, but he is now incapacitated in old age and busy playing cards. But he has stepped into this case, hasn't he? He stepped in quite convincingly to attempt damage control. Does that not show that he does still be in charge? No. This all this damage control is Mohammed bin Salman doing. He is the head of the investigation. He is the head of this. He is the head of this. He is the one doing damage and putting the decrees in front of his father, most likely, and trying to manage it. But I don't think he has the capacity and energy. There's a very well possibility that we get a news today or tomorrow after tomorrow that the king died accidentally by heart attack or stroke or something like that. Mohammed bin Salman is not going to give up the power. The man who believed that he's Alexander the Macedonian, Alexander the Great, and ask his close associate to call him Alexander the Great, is not going to give power so easily. He will fight up to death. By the way, when he discussed with Kushner and made the threats, which has been leaked to the media, that Saudi Arabia can do relation with Iran, with China, become anti-American, which has been pronounced before him by Al-Dakhil, the head of Al-Arabiya. When he said that, that's the only thing which he threatened Kushner. He threatened Kushner, listen, if I go down, you go with me. You are implicated. All right, so Mohammed al-Masari, we'll have to leave it there for this hour. Let's wait and see. Yes, absolutely, and we will be talking to you more in the coming hours. Thanks very much for joining us from London. Yeah. Welcome. Let's just recap what's been going on in the past 60 minutes. The Turkish president's speech about the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. The journalist died inside Saudi Arabia's Istanbul consulate 3 weeks ago today. President Erdogan addressing his ruling party about the murder for about 30 minutes. Now, here are the main key points.
He declared it was premeditated murder that was planned days in advance, which also included reconnaissance missions by the kill team to the forests around Istanbul. Mr. Erdogan also posed several questions to Saudi Arabia, including why it had constantly changed its story about what happened, where are Khashoggi's remains, and exactly who was involved. He added that Turkey doesn't doubt the credibility of King Salman, but is demanding a full, independent investigation and that the trial of the accused be held in Turkey. Mr. Erdogan also asked that everyone involved in the killing from top to bottom be held accountable. He also said accusing some security operatives is not sufficient. Let's bring in Saudi dissident Mohammed al-Masri, who's in London for us. Mr. al-Masri, was that the speech from Mr. Erdogan that you wanted to hear?
No, that's not what I wanted to hear, but I'm not shocked or surprised because Erdogan is the master of surprises. So it sounded like a state of the international relation speech, which is befitting for the parliament. I was asking myself on the way here will he mention the videos and even show them in the parliament? That's not like Erdogan, not like a head of state. That will be maybe referred back to the public prosecutor, who may come just in a few hours or days and presenting these things. But people did not read between the lines. First of all, the fact that they supervising what the Saudis and other diplomats are doing about the scouting of the area of certain parks around Istanbul, meaning we know what your diplomats are doing in normal times. Maybe they did not make any sense of this scouting, the question mark, and kept on file until that is transpired, then they connected to the case and concluded correctly with certainty that there's a premeditated planned murder. That's number one. Secondly, he said to King Salman, which many people did not read properly, I don't trust, he said, I trust the custodian to King Salman, not mentioning anybody else, that he trusts him. Sending him a message, I trust you, I'm still trusting you until now. And then he mentioned, you should act according, and he mentioned the Islamic Sharia. Now, the Islamic Sharia, many people do not know. In Islamic Sharia, there's no immunity for president or kings or anybody, not even for the Prophet himself. Everyone must be tried, can be tried and prosecuted for whatever action he does. And this is not by necessity, it's not from Islamic Sharia by necessity. So telling him, essentially giving him a signal, if your son is involved, done according to Islamic Sharia. You have to dispose him and put him on trial, some way or another. So he's giving, essentially, using the leverage he has in his hand to give Salman an opportunity to correct the story now, which they have keeping lying. And to put further pressure, he is asking about the body. The body is irrelevant because the murder is admitted by all relevant parties. There's no need for a body in that case. Most likely the body has been cut in pieces and possibly taken and disposed maybe through the airplane on the way, except the head and the fingers who are supposed to be with Mohammed bin Salman. But if they come with that, that will be showing the brutal nature of the whole action and make even Mohammed bin Salman MBS even more condemned. So he's doing it. I think people are looking in the wrong angle to the coming of the CIA chief. This woman is a trusted person, trusted one of Trump. He trusts her, and also the foreign minister, because these are his men. The institution itself, the CIA, is opposed to her and opposed to him for the time being. So he sent her. The sending her, what Erdogan did not say, he said that he contacted Trump on the 25th something of October. He didn't mention the contact the second day in which he sent these videos and these recordings. They are there, I assure you that, from the highest places in Erdogan office. And Trump is lying and continuously lying. So she is there to cover up.
Mr. al-Masri, I'm going to interrupt you there because if we're getting into the territory, just let me hit the pause button for a second. I don't think there's anything to be gained here if we get into the territory of you saying Donald Trump is lying and you saying either the State Department or the CIA has the audio tapes, has the videotapes. That's very specifically and very clearly your claim. So I'm just going to let that sit there, but we do have to signal that for our viewers. Let's just back up a little bit. You were talking about three main takeaway points from Mr. Erdogan's speech. Just let me get to the third point. Just let me get to the third point, please. He wants 18 people extradited to Turkey from Saudi Arabia. You're talking about under the auspices of Sharia law. I get the point, of course I do. But the reality is those 18 people are never going to be extradited, are they?
He knows that. That's just putting pressure on King Salman to do the right thing and get a dispose of his son, change his politics, lift the sanction on Qatar, end the war in Yemen, change the whole politics, stop persecuting the Muslim Brotherhood. That's the price for your son. Or you sacrifice possibly the kingdom and bring an instability in the kingdom. That's the message. And he has all the leverage to... Anyway, the leverage about Trump is very clear. You have followed how the lira is recovering nicely since the second or third day of the incident. It's recovering very nicely. And Trump is not talking about anything negative about Turkey. He's trying to appease Turkey and tap them on the shoulder to get away with what he's done. In the middle of that, I know your comment about that. So Haspel is just to cover up and fix something, especially for Kushner and Trump, possibly. No pressure about that. And he can tell her clearly, let Muhammad, let the king of Saudi Arabia fix his situation in such a way that we all gain. Trump is not exposed. Mohammed bin Salman is finished. Sanction, siege of Qatar is off. War in Yemen is settled somehow, and they stop interfering and supporting the Kurdish rebels in North Syria. That's the price he has. It's a huge price. It's worth this gamble. But it will go on. The facts will be exposed, and the videos will be leaked sooner or later. There's no escape from that. Okay. So I think what he did was anticlimax, yes, because we expected to see videos and so on. We were like expecting the new Star Wars movie. But the reality is that what we're getting is we see how an enormous leverage Erdogan has in his hand, and he should use it.
Some people were surprised.
But the fact is clear. The man is murdered. Saudi Arabia is behind that. It's premeditated murder. Okay. That's what we need.
Understood.
This is the naked truth.
In the run-up to what we've heard from Mr. Erdogan in the past, 90 minutes now, some people were surprised that he was apparently politicizing it in a broad regional sense by delivering this speech to the party faithful, as opposed to getting his message out either via the internal criminal investigation or just to the Parliament building. You've already hinted at this, though. He clearly knows, he's a clever guy, he clearly knows, surely, that there are big tectonic plates at work here. There's the question over Saudi Arabia's attitude towards the Arab Spring. When that kicked off, we know that this is an established fact that Riyadh is worried about the prospect of that kind of dissent on the street. And on top of that, you've mentioned it already, the GCC crisis, the blockade of Qatar. There are massive forces at play here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Erdogan is telling him indirectly, these massive forces will dispose of you. You can, if you go towards maybe a constitutional monarchy, go to some compromises with the general public, end the support for the military regime in Egypt, and correct the mistake which your previous king committed by cooperating and financing the disposal of Mohammed Morsi, that may change the situation. But you are finished. The situation is, the reality is finishing. The regime is finished if it doesn't do the right thing. And my expectation, it will not do the right thing, and it will be soon. We have infight between the princes, and Ahmed bin Abdulaziz is in London, is stand by, and the American deep state is stand by for Mohammed bin Naif, and things will move quite ugly if Salman does not move to save at least a nominal monarchy for him and his family.
Mohammed Al-Masri, thank you very much.
Well, President Erdogan, in his address, repeated earlier assertions from his country about the savagery of Khashoggi's killing.
Cemal Khashoggi'nin vahşi bir cinayete.
So far, the evidence we have shows Jamal Khashoggi was murdered brutally. Such brutality cannot be covered up in any way. It would hurt humankind's conscience. We would like Saudi authorities to show the same sensitivity to this murder.
Let's bring in now the Saudi dissident, Mohammed Al-Mas'ari. He's in London for us. And how much more pressure do you think the Saudis might be feeling now following Erdogan's speech?
Enormous pressure, because the speech is clearly when he said he trusts King Salman. Using the evidence level by level, did not mention that Saudi. I trust you.
We would like Saudi authorities to show the same sensitivity to this murder.
Let's bring in now the Saudi dissident, Mohammed Al-Mas'ari. He's in London for us. And how much more pressure do you think the Saudis might be feeling now following Erdogan's speech?
Enormous pressure, because the speech is clearly when he said he trusts King Salman, the custodian of two holy mosques or two holy sites, meaning I trust you still as a king, and you are responsible for the two holy sites, what will come will endanger the kingdom and will endanger the two holy sites. So you have to move against your son. This is the secret message. And he did not mention that Saud al-Qahtani is implicated, and there are video and audio evidence against him. So they're releasing the evidence level by level, giving him the opportunity to do the business at home as it should be done, as it should be, the full truth from Saudi side. And also putting the question that we are not going to give up about the issue of the body. You claimed, most like the Saudis are lying, you gave it to a local contractor to dispose of it, or a local criminal or a mafia. Who is that? Tell us, who is that? We must know him once we get the body. Most likely it is not true. The truth is that the body was dismembered and taken in pieces with the plane and disposed maybe from the air, except the head and the fingers, which are now in Riyadh. Whatever it is, these questions, King Salman has no way out except either. And also he mentioned, I repeat this point several times because many people in the English listener do not understand this point. He said, according to Islamic Sharia, which Saudi Arabia claimed to be applying, but Islamic Sharia does not know any immunity for head of states and princes in any matter. That's the theory, the strict theory, which is known in Saudi Arabia, and the Saudis stress that always publicly. So even if his your son implicated, he has to suffer like anybody else. Don't cover for him.
But what indications have we had? Just if I could jump in there, because what indications have we had from inside Saudi Arabia that they're actually going to act on this, that they will move against the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman?
Until now, it seems to be the king is not moving at all. He's trying to appeal. Erdogan is appealing to the king as the head of state. And when the real head of state, the real acting man, seems to be Mohammed Salman, because this committee appointed for investigation, or this investigation group, is headed by him. The criminal is heading the investigation against himself is impossible. And this is a mockery. Most likely, the decrees have been written by him, and his father is not able really to resist the signing. So the situation is becoming extremely explosive and dangerous, and this is what Jane Haspel is trying to do in Turkey to see how to fix the situation, and also the intelligence officer plus the Treasury Secretary in Riyadh trying to fix the situation. They are not for economic things now. How to fix the situation, get out of the mess.
Okay, Mohammed Al-Masari, thanks very much
Trump's
for joining us there from London. Thank you.
Trump's policy about Iran and so on, this is gone. This is goodbye.
All right, thank you very much.
It's not going to be executed.